What's going on, Conscious Crew? It is your favorite breakdown commentator. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. It is a lot going on, and of course, you guys have dragged me back into covering this crazy ass trial that is literally taking me the hell out. We'll get into all of that. Before we do so, I need you guys to go ahead and run those likes up, and I need you guys to run those likes up on this particular coverage because you all requested this coverage, okay? I really could have did without even touching on the Diddy shit. My plan was to just report on the verdict and call it a day. However, we here and it's all right. So please run those likes up. You guys know that throwing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Conscious Crew member and telling them to get their black asses into the sanctuary. All right. So whether you're part of the replay gang, whether you are a Bush baby, or whether you are active in these streets with me in real time, run those likes up, bro. We need all of that. All right. Also, make sure that you guys have your notification bell set to all so that you never miss a day or hour when the Kang is in fact Kangin. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, your Twitter, the dark side of your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you in fact leather like. Just let them whores know that we're out, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And last but not least, is you can always donate to the platform. Of course, $ Consciouztv on Cash App and or paypal.me/ConsciouzTV. Conscious spelled with the Z on the end. All information and handles are in the description box below. Now, with no further ado, of course, let's go ahead and push the hell on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Shout out to the baby father Todd for the O'Day, the child support chef for the King is cooking. Hit them likes, all right? Shout out to Todd, you guys. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. It's a lot going on without wasting no time because we got a lot of shit to talk about, even outside of Diddy. First of all, shout out to my mod and fellow influencer, Oota on Go. All of Oota's information is in the description box below. You guys know Oota has been giving us boots to the ground coverage straight from the courthouse. He lives out there in New York, so he's been on Diddy's ass, okay, for the last 2 weeks. He's also given all updates on his own platform, so make sure that you guys are supporting Oota on the go. He also sent me transcripts of day 14, 15, and 14, 15. Hold on, is it 14, 15? One of them damn days, girl. Day 4, 5, and 6, I believe. It is a lot of pages of reading to undergo, girl. If y'all want that, girl, y'all gonna have to really support the King, girl, because it just, shout out to Auntie Trish for the old dancing child support chat. Thank you, Auntie Trish, and God bless you. Light and love to you, Auntie, okay? Auntie Trish is one of my OG mods. She's also a fellow content creator as well. So shout out to Auntie Trish, and make sure that you guys subscribe to her platform because, baby, she loves to serenade you on into the goddamn glory, baby. Okay, she also be giving y'all these 2-3 minute ass wisdoms and the y'all ass whippings that some of y'all sins be needing, you know, for the upper vibrational rays and glory of it all, okay? It's a lot going on. Let me just talk about this Diddy trial for one. First of all, I told y'all from the beginning, I personally had no plans on covering the Diddy trial. As a content creator, I had kind of already blew my gasket reporting every day, all day when he first got indicted, got arrested, all these civil lawsuits we've been reading. We read through the Don Richard's lawsuit, Lil Rod's lawsuit, Cassie's lawsuit, his dick being the size of a Tootsie Roll. I mean, we have read them all up and down to the goddamn ground, girl. So by the time trial came, I was over Diddy, kind of had overdid it. And the 3 days that I've spent reporting on this alongside Oota last week, it honestly resulted in me falling sick as hell. I'm already got some other stuff spiritually that I'm doing that has me very spiritually open. So as an empath, talking about and covering every absurd, over the top, abusive aspect of this trial with these escorts, with Cassie, girl, it literally had a physiological impact on me. So I had to then take a few days off just to get my health in order. Here's another thing. I am a very spiritually sensitive person. That's mostly why I have a very small controlled friendship group, and I limit my access to the public. That's why you guys don't see me on red carpets. Y'all don't see me pooching. I'm not interested in none of that shit, and I can't even deal with being around half of them fake ass, low vibrational, matrix dwelling ass motherfucking people. Okay, it will literally have a physical impact on me. So I be on a real life social diet because I can't energetically deal with most damn people. Okay, so you know, I be. So I am going to tell y'all right now, y'all are probably not going to get daily coverage. We're going to have to play it by ear. We're going to have to play it by feeling, and we'll see. Okay, I will give it to y'all when I just got the juice to do so. So yeah, don't be expecting no daily damn coverage. I don't even know if I'm going to read these transcripts. I want to say I will, but I just have no idea. However, let's get into some of the things we did not cover last Thursday and Friday. So let's get some things out of the way first. We know that Cassie's testimony wrapped up last week. Girl, she got cross-examined, etc. I'm going to speak on Cassie last because she's kind of the star witness, and I want to touch on whether Cassie's testimony has hurt this case or whether it has helped this case. You guys know this week, Don Richard from Diddy Kane has entered the building. She began her testimony Friday. She also is continuing in her testimony this week. They're going to be bringing in Diddy and Cassie's sex slave, one of their favorite sex slaves, which is Jonathan O'Day. He's going to be coming in. You guys know we did a bit of a rundown on Jonathan O'Day just to refresh you guys. He was the first person to blow the whistle on Diddy and this drug sex trafficking ring. He sat down with FBI back in 2018. There is a interrogation video that has gone viral of Jonathan in 2018, pretty much saying how he met Diddy and Cassie and his involvement with them. He also had sued Diddy civilly for giving him herpes via Cassie, and he received a $1.5 million settlement. He's currently doing time and is facing a plethora of other crazy ass crimes, but he's ready to come forward. So he will be also stepping into the group chat as well, more than likely this week. Also, they're going to be bringing in Cassie's mother to the stand. Cassie spoke about how she pretty much confided in her mother at different times. Her mother bared witness to injuries, took pictures of Cassie's injuries, etc. So she's going to be coming forth as well. All right. But right now they're dealing with Don Richard, and there is a lot going on with Miss Dawn. Hold on, y'all. I'm getting so much intel, girl, in real time. Hold on. It's so much shit going on. Wait a minute. Anyway, Don Richard. So you guys know that Don sued Diddy back in September of last year. We read through her lawsuit. Don Richard's lawsuit against Diddy was absolutely explosive. She was one of the first people to accuse Diddy of pretty much trafficking underage people. She spoke about how he was bringing them in by the busloads in the middle of the night. He had a particular knack for albino women and albino girls. We got into some of the metaphysics behind that particular preference as it related to ritualistic magic and ritualistic sex, which also has come up again with Diddy loving the semen from these escorts rubbed all around his nipples. If we have time to get into that type of dialogue, we will do that as well in this particular commentary, girl. Don Richards also in her civil suit had chronicled how her and Kalina, the other failed member of Dirty Money, which is a musical group starring Diddy, Don, and Kalina, and how they both witnessed Diddy abuse the fuck out of Cassie, hit her in the face and in the head with the skillet. Kalina has denied ever witnessing anything. We know that upon Diddy being arrested, he attempted to make 1 trillion phone calls to Kalina. The understanding was that he pretty much cut Kalina a check or propositioned her some way to pretty much be an alibi for him to help to cover his foolishness. So Kalina has maintained that she never bared witness to Diddy doing anything horrendous and that he was a great boss, you know. Take that for what you will. Dawn also chronicled how she was not getting paid when it came to Dirty Money. They was making the least. Diddy was pretty much shaving most of their earnings off the damn top, giving them the crumbs. She spoke about how she would be trapped in some of these freak offs and she would barricade herself in some of the rooms. She would push furniture up against the wall as the night played out, etc. She would talk about how Diddy kept her from eating and drinking and controlled her whereabouts, threatened her life, etc. And of course, Aubrey O'Day has similar testimony to her treatment in Danity Kane. You guys know D Woods from Danity Kane also appeared in one of these Diddy documentaries this year. She chronicled some things as well. You guys know that Sarah from Making the Band also had alleged that she had been sexually assaulted. She also has civilly sued Diddy as well. Now, Aubrey initially was reported to be taking a stand as well, but Aubrey has since debunked that. She will not be a witness for prosecution, so she will not be making a grand entrance into this trial. Everybody was super excited to hear from Aubrey because Aubrey has been on Diddy's neck pretty much since she left, or she was left, I should say, by Diddy. And, you know, considering that she's not a witness for prosecution, nor has she filed any civil suits against Diddy, I'm kind of wondering why. You know, Aubrey appeared in the TMZ documentary about Diddy. Once again, she's done 1 trillion interviews talking about Diddy. but she's not going to be a part of this trial, nor has she taken any civil approach. Do you guys have any thoughts about that? Why is Aubrey one of the most vocal people about Diddy, and yet she's not relevant to prosecution, nor has she taken up any criminal nor civil charges against the diddler? Does anybody have a hypothesis about that? Anybody? What's going on, Coco? Hey, Boo. Hey, Ken Goddess. Hey, everybody. Hey, Cherry. Hey, y'all. Did I speak to y'all coming in? I just jumped right into shit, y'all. I feel kind of all over the place this Monday. What's going on, Lamari? Maybe she's afraid he's going to beat the case. No, Aubrey wouldn't be afraid at all. She's been vocal about Diddy way before there was even any lawsuit. She's been speaking out against Diddy for years. Before there was a Cassie lawsuit, before there was an indictment. She's not obviously scared. So her being afraid is not a thing. Paid off. Highly unlikely. She has continued to be vocal. She's been vocal this whole. She was just a part of a Diddy, the TMZ documentary, like this year about Diddy. So she hasn't been paid off. She's continued to run that mouth. She's obviously not scared. So what makes her irrelevant to prosecution? And why has she herself not taken up any action against him? Dream Doll says she did ish too, that she don't want to have to admit publicly. Cherry says she was going to testify and Diddy's lawyers blocked her. According to who? I'm gonna see if I can find some. She could be a liability. Truth Teller says she probably didn't have much to offer unless all she wanted was the attention. She might be in it too. And I'm following Dawn's testimony, and some inconsistencies were raised. Yeah, we're going to get into Dawn. We're going to be getting into to NBC. They have their journalists that are reporting play-by-play what's taking place. That's where I like to get my preferred updates from, is from these actual journalists and not these YouTubers with all their emotionality. Aubrey is all mouth, but when it comes to real deal court, she's out. She's only doing interviews for money. Yeah, because she hasn't even taken up a civil suit of her own, but she's been like sounding off, for a very, very, very long time. I think she stood her ground and actually told him off. She also may have the support system that some Caucasian women have, such as a dad with a pow-pow. She's too dirty in her personal life. The defense wouldn't. Oh, you're right. Aubrey is a mess. But hell, she can't be no messier than Cassie. Hell, baby, we're going to get into Cassie. We're going to get into Cassie, baby. Ain't nobody. Cassie is like, on one hand, the perfect victim, and then also like the perfect villain. She's like both the victim and she's also like the Harley Quinn to Diddy as well. It's a very convoluted dynamic. How can Diddy lawyers stop her? Wouldn't that be the prosecution to not let her? She's been alleged to have yacked, and remember she had an affair with Trump's son during The Apprentice. The defense could rip her apart. Credibility, it's possible. It's very, very possible. Okay, so let's get into Dawn. Lot to explore there. Lots to explore, child. Let's get into Dawn. I don't want to show all these damn let me see something here. Let me just pull up a thumbnail. If you guys are in the chat, please thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I have no idea how long we're going to be here today, because I still feel a little sick. So I'm really not in the mood for none of this shit. But I'm pushing through for you all, because you all are wonderful. Dawn. All right, Dawn Richards' lawsuit, okay? Let's deal with the lawsuit. On same day she testifies, Diddy wants Dawn's civil lawsuit against him thrown deep out, calling the allegations she's made against him totally false. On the same day she took the witness stand against him in his criminal trial. The rap mogul's legal team filed the documents Friday, pointing out a series of reasons why Don's lawsuit shouldn't go any further. Statute of limitations, improper group pleads, and on and on. It's mostly lawyer speak, though. Diddy's attorneys do say early on in the docs that she's essentially trying to ride the wave of negative press around Diddy to a payout. Writing Dawn, quote, seeks to transform narratives of alleged injuries against others into a headline-grabbing SEX trafficking conspiracy as to her. What's more interesting than the actual words in the document is the timing of the dismissal, because it was filed on the very same day Dawn took the stand in Diddy's federal SEX trafficking trial, causing a stir when she arrived at the federal courthouse in a smart checkered blazer and nose piercing. As TMZ told you, Dawn told the court she saw Diddy violently attack Cassie, specifically referring to an alleged 2009 incident where she says she watched Diddy attempt to hit Cassie with a skillet. She also alleges that Diddy told her and a bandmate to keep quiet on what she says went down, alleging her locking the door during the conversation. She also says that he brought them flowers to try and smooth things over with them. Dawn's also supposed to take the stand again Monday as the trial heads into week 2, though Diddy's ex Cassie has officially finished her testimony in the case and is now focusing on giving birth to her third child with Alex Fine. Richard filed a lawsuit against Diddy back in September, claiming he groped, terrorized, and belittled her while working on the show Making the Band. Diddy's lawyers called BS at the time, telling us, quote, in an attempt to rewrite history, Dawn Richard has now manufactured a series of false claims, all in the hopes of trying to get a payday, adding that if things were so bad on Making the Band, then Dawn wouldn't have agreed to sign another contract with Diddy later on. So what that simply means is that they're going to tear Dawn ass the hell up as well on the stand. Her credibility kind of is about just as shot as y'all are claiming Aubrey O'Day's testimony is. Now, here's the thing. Diddy knows exactly what the hell Dawn knows. And if she wasn't so much as a threat, he wouldn't be going out of his way to get her ass off this trial, off this damn case. Honey, he tried to get her civil suit rejected and thrown out the day that she took the damn stand. I believe everything that Dawn said, but there is going to be some credibility issues there because she worked with Diddy practically all the way up to the very end. Like, they have songs on record that are just 2 years old. So her coming forward now after Lil Rod and Cassie's lawsuits against Diddy, saying A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Yeah. Defense is going to remind the public that, you know, she was just praising Diddy, working with Diddy. Remember when Dawn's lawsuit had came out, we were looking at some interviews of Dawn speaking very, very, very highly of Diddy. However, there are things that she's alleging that Cassie corroborated, and there are things that she's corroborating that Cassie alleged as well. My attitude toward Dawn is that Dawn was complicit. Dawn in the same breath, witnessed a lot, was subjected to a lot, because everybody in Diddy's life, professionally and personally, were subjected to abuse. But I do think Don more than likely came forward because the gig was really up. Once Diddy ass got indicted, and her knowing what behind the scenes looked like, her knowing what the fuck has gone on, her knowing that there was probably a high likelihood that he's going to do sometime, dirty money is over, etc. Her ass went and got her money on the back end, bitch. Okay, like, she knew, I ain't gonna get it on the front end, girl. We never gonna tour again. That wave is over. Dawn has not been able to really be a thing outside of Diddy. I think that was also largely her motivation for staying in cahoots with Diddy. She never really carved out a solo career. She never really became successful in and of her own right. All of her notable visibility, musicality, etc., has been in the nesting of Diddy and in connection to Diddy. And I remember watching Making a Band long time ago. Like, Making a Band was like my thing. And I remember Dawn being very adamant about having a career and how serious she was about her career. I remember there was also rumors that Dawn and Diddy were actually dating at some point, or fooling around, or that there was some type of inappropriate relationship between herself and Diddy. It ended up coming in between her relationship to one of the guys from Day 26 she was dating. It was like a lot of drama at that time. Dawn also is a very interesting character as well, because I don't know how much of you kind of like follow Danity Kane's career, but you guys know Danity Kane and Making a Band was happening around the time where we didn't have social media like that. We more so had like chat rooms. And so Danity Kane would have to go into these like spaces in these forums to like kind of routinely interact with their fans online. I remember in somebody's interview, I can't remember whose interview it was from the group. It was like years afterwards. This is when like Danity Kane was already dismantled, etc. Somebody did an interview and they told the story about how on one of these occasions where they all had to get on the computers to talk with fans, like during this time, there was like this person who was trolling the fuck out of them in the forums. Like, this person would be like, this troll would be like real nasty, saying really offensive shit, just like going in on all the girls. But this troll would never, ever, ever, ever go in on Dawn. They would call the girls fat, out of shape, they can't sing, they're fugly, da 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 da. And so there was like always this troublemaking person in this troll form in the chat. Well, one day they had to go, you know, on the computers to go into the forums to be interactive. Dawn, I think, did not attend that day. I don't know whether she was sick or whatever the reason was why she wasn't there. One of the girls ended up using her computer. Come to find out, Dawn was still logged in to her account on that computer, and she was the fucking troll. She was the person that for months had been in this forum harassing all the other members of Danity Kane, making disparaging remarks against them, body shaming the other girls, and they never like confronted Dawn about this. It was like something that they all like spoke about as a trio, but they never like said shit to Dawn. So Dawn never knew that the girls found out that she was a secret op and she was a secret hating asshole, and she was, you know, trolling the fuck out of her own bandmates, trying to make them insecure and feel inferior, etc. It was a whole hot mess. So Dawn is very interesting, and I remember when I was doing kind of like my psychoanalyst on Dawn, last year, I remember Diddy like took a particular liking to Dawn. Matter of fact, she was the only one left standing. She was the only one that he kept. He went on to give her a second leg of a career through Dirty Money. And I believe he sold Danity Kane, or he gave Danity Kane's name to Dawn. Looking now in retrospect, considering all that we know now, the implications are very interesting. What in the hell did Diddy sniff out in Dawn that made her of particular interest? Was it because when Dawn literally said she was very career driven and she was willing to do anything that needed to be done to be an icon? We know that Cassie had these same dreams, these same ambitions. Did to a predator like Diddy that translate as desperate, making Dawn moldable, making her qualified to be a henchman for him? Did he sniff out a similar wickedness in her? Like, oh, this is another diabolical bitch. I could use her. Who knows? She stayed with him all the way up to the end, practically. And she stayed pedestalizing his name, even when Dirty Money wasn't pushing no records, wasn't pushing no tours. Y'all got to go back on my channel. I did like a whole thing on Don. Just type in Don Richard's lawsuit on my channel. Like, go to the search engine on my channel and pull up that live stream. So it made me very curious about where does Don come into play at in all of this. Obviously, she witnessed some extraordinary things, because I don't believe that Diddy hid himself. Diddy was so arrogant and narcissistic that a lot of the stuff he did out loud. That's why everybody kind of has bear witness and have the same observations. Diddy wasn't the kind of monster that really like reserved this part of himself for privacy sake. He was pretty much a terrorist out in the open. We know that him and Lorianne Gibson got physical. That played out while making the band. Even the way that he dismantled Danity Kane, like that whole like finale was so awkward and dark and dense. The way that Diddy was just kind of menacing the girls and just like really putting a nail in them. The way that he just fixated on D Woods and fired her just because she looked fireable. You know, the way he wanted Aubrey to understand that, bitch, you ain't no sex symbol. Like, he had this particular issue with Aubrey because out of all the members of Danity Kane, Aubrey was always kind of like the realist, the one who wasn't afraid to kind of speak up, to speak for the group. That costed her in the end, of course, but you know, it's all been there. So I believe everything Dawn has observed and witnessed. But the question becomes, you know, was Dawn with the shits? Is this convenient? Opportunistic? Is it both? Cassie is coming under question in terms of baby life. What is it given? Seems like it's a hybrid situation. I don't know. But Dawn is on that stand, doing what needs to be done. We'll revisit Dawn in a minute. Prince. Let's get into Prince, girl. So there's an alleged recording that is being said to have been played during trial of Prince, the artist formerly known as. You guys know that Prince's name came up during Cassie Ventura's testimony, when she said that pretty much Diddy got upset at her when they were at a Prince party or some shit, and she had to hide herself, and there was this whole thing. There isn't a recording of Prince. Prince recording was not played during trial. One of the obvious signs that was fake news is the fact that it hasn't been reported by any credible media outlet, and none of these content creators who are at the trial have spoken about it. And this would have been something that would have been heavily sensationalized. So it's just fake tea. Sportskeeda reports, did Prince leave a recording about Diddy? Viral claim explored in the wake of ongoing trial testimonials. Hold on, y'all. My computer is lagging like a bitch. They got so much shit on this page. A rumor surfaced recently that the late American musician Prince left an alleged recording about... Hold on, y'all. I don't know why this page is moving so slow. Hold on. A rumor surfaced recently that the late American musician Prince left an alleged recording about Sean Diddy Combs, which was reportedly used during the latter's ongoing federal trial. This was first claimed by the YouTube channel called What Is My Star Worth on May 18th of 2025 with the headline, quote, 1 minute ago, Prince's secret recording just shattered Diddy's trial. The video description further read, quote, in a stunning turn of events, a previously unreleased recording from the late music icon Prince has surfaced and is reportedly causing major damage to the ongoing trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The recording, said to have made in confidence, contains explosive insights and personal warnings that directly tie into the heart of the case. The YouTube post garnered severe traction online and amassed over 489,000 views at the time of writing. However, the now viral claim is fake. No recording from Prince was shown during Diddy's trial, nor did he leave behind any such clip as per the latest reports. While Combs' high-profile SEX trafficking trial has earned significant media attention, no major news outlet has reported on such a recording introduced in the courtroom. Additionally, the video description of What Is My Star Worth distinctly states that the content was altered or synthetic, adding, quote, sound or visuals were significantly edited or digitally generated. Moreover, it also came with a disclaimer that read, quote, this content is fictional and for entertainment purposes only. No official sources confirm the existence of such a recording. It is satire, you guys. The 25-minute long YouTube video about What Is My Star Worth reveals a fabricated story about music icon Prince leaving evidence from beyond the grave to help prosecute Sean Combs. Quote, in the video, we break down the content of the alleged recording, how it resurfaced, and why it's being described as a game changer in the courtroom. Prince, known for his cryptic genius and deep knowledge of the music industry, may have left behind more than just music. He may have left a warning no one expected. However, the video does not provide any credible source or evidence to support its claim that Prince left behind a recording about Diddy's alleged criminal activities. Moreover, the video starts with a disclaimer that says, quote, viewer discretion is strongly advised, and the following is for educational and entertainment purposes. So literally, the video fucking says this is satire, this is a gag, this is trolling, and people have still taken it seriously. I mean, that's the era that we're living in. Okay, I mean, scary times, right? I'm gonna tell you something. We just talked about this during the Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion, Kelsey situation, and the DDG, Haley Bailey situation, that we're really living in a time where the truth really doesn't more so matter than people's personal narratives do. People have their minds made up on a lot of things and on a lot of people, and honestly, the facts and the truth doesn't even really matter to a lot of people anymore. That's very dangerous. Very dangerous. To be self-narrative assertive and not give a damn about the actual facts in any case. And even when you present things in the name of trolling, satire, news, etc., people are largely willing to dismiss those disclaimers because the fake narrative actually fits their own personal narrative about what's playing out. My God, today, this is why, baby, the court of public opinion will never be a reliable court. Okay, the court of public opinion is just that, bitch. The court of public opinion. It also, the article goes on to say, falsely claims that the United Nations-backed investigative journalism group Inner City Press, which has been extensively covering the Combs trial, has reported on the never-before-seen Prince recording, which of course is not true. The What Is My Star Worth channel's bio also comes with a disclaimer that further discredits the claim that reads, the content on this channel may contain gossip-based information, rumors, or exaggerated portrayals of reality. Please exercise your own discretion while watching, and remember that not all information presented may be factual or verified, it reads. The video can thus be deemed as fake, meant for virality and sensationalism. Notably, the channel has been making several similar false claims surrounding the ongoing Diddy motherfucking trial. Meanwhile, Facebook user Mitchell Jackson borrowed from the viral yet falsified YouTube video and shared a 12-minute clip on Sunday. Quote, this P. Diddy case is too much, Lord. Prince, though, for real. Highlight Jackson captioned their post, girl. Idiots, okay? It's not real. It's ridiculously, horrendously fake. And yeah. No such thing, baby. All right. Now, moving on to, hold on. Let me see. Do I want to get into Cassie? Okay, so let's get into some things before we get into these updates. Hold on, y'all. Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. So before we get into these updates and what's going on with Dawn right now on the trial, I want to speak to the trial. So I've been listening to some of the legal analysts who've been kind of covering this case. So far right now, the general consensus seems to be that prosecution is doing a weak job of proving the racketeering Rico aspect of the case, which is, of course, going to be the meat and the potatoes of his charges. The other charges are lighter, relatively speaking, to the racketeering SEX trafficking charge. However, we are only 2 weeks into the damn trial, 2 weeks into a 2-month-long trial at that. So this is hardly a appropriate time to be deciding if prosecution got their shit together yet, because we haven't even really seen the full arsenal. They ain't really pulled out their motherfucking bag yet, okay? So for all we know, prosecution is just doing kind of a soft launch right now. They're kind of priming the jury. They're kind of like building up. This is going to be a case that should be littered with a lot of evidence from left to right. So we got 2 months of this shit to endure. So I highly doubt that they've played their hand right out of the gate. That wouldn't be intelligent to begin with. whatever they're going to end with is probably going to be the most defining of it all. If they didn't really start in the beginning, then they're more than likely going to end on their highest note. So opening up with a pregnant, abused girlfriend whose video of her abuse has already played out, who was subjected to prostitutes, extortion, violence, etc. You can consider that to be a pretty genius opening, I would say. Also, legal experts are also saying that, for instance, like Don, Diddy's criminal trial actually could hurt the civil suits that are coming against him because, for one, trial is very expensive. Diddy is spending a ton of motherfucking money. And if he's found guilty, he's cooked and he's done, which means that probably nobody is going to be able to recover monetarily if Diddy is found guilty. Hell, once again, him just even being tried is running deep into Diddy's pockets all by itself. On the other hand, if he's found guilty, it's definitely going to be interesting leverage for a lot of these civil suits that are against him. But however, recovering anything monetarily maybe to no avail if he's found guilty. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to these 50 million, 11 trillion ass lawsuits that are still being filed even now with him being on trial, which would be the second leg of all of this. Also, as I said in earlier live stream style, hold on, y'all. This is too much. What the fuck? Oh my God, y'all. It's Jesus. Whole nother situation popping off. What was I saying? What was I saying, y'all? Oh, on the other hand, bitch, if Diddy is found innocent and he's acquitted and he walks, Diddy is going to be a very wealthy man because the reverse fucking Uno he is going to be pulling is going to be out of this world. He's going to be able to pull a reverse Uno and countersue Don, Lil Rod, countersue pretty much every motherfucking person, especially if those people are of nobility. These media outlets, TMZ, these producers and directors for these documentaries, media outlets themselves, Diddy is going to go on a fucking suing tangent, girl. And there's going to be some interesting repercussions against those who have either spoken out via civil lawsuits who are connected to the industry, and those who have simply been speaking out via interviews like Gene Deal, ex-bodyguards, etc. I think it's going to be a fucking war zone if Diddy walks, girl. It's going to be a fucking war zone. It's going to be a fucking bloodbath. In terms of him suing YouTubers, I think that if that happens, YouTubers will fall very, very like to the back of the bus. He's going to be going for top dogs. He's going to be going for the people and his peers that betrayed him by doing interviews, talking shit, trying to corroborate other people's accounts. He's going to be going for media outlets and entities that he know are big bank. If he's going to be suing content creators, those people will be the least and will fall the lowest on the pecking order. He's going to be shaving off the top and going for what he know he gonna get coin out of, for one. So Gene Deal ass better be prepared to run, bitch, or to shoot. Okay? Dawn Richards girl better be prepared to fucking run, bitch, or shoot, ho. Aubrey O'Day, D Woods, Sarah Greer. Y'all see? Farnsworth Bentley, baby, ain't letting nobody bring his ass up out of hiding, girl. And if he is gonna tell his story, bitch, it's gonna be long after Diddy ass is on death row, bitch. Okay? When Diddy is for sure chained up, girl. Y'all see what J-Lo and Farnsworth and the rest of them folk is, girl. Okay? Baby, everybody else, girl, who done got their licks, who done try to get their licks amid all of this, bitch, run or shoot if Diddy ass come home, because it is going to be absolutely up, girl. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. And Diddy is a narcissist as well, baby. So the narcissistic rage and the level of revenge and clapback and applying pressure to people's ass, baby, and reclaiming his time is going to be of epic proportions, girl. It's going to be equivalent to what y'all seeing Trump doing to the damn country as a result of y'all voting Biden in his damn place, girl. Now he coming through with a wrecking ball and making y'all feel sorry for what y'all did to his second run. All right? What y'all did to his second term, bitch, is going to be apocalyptic. Absolutely apocalyptic. All right? Now, I want to talk about Cassie. Cassie is an interesting person in this whole thing. I want to say this. After hearing everything and looking through everything, I'm really struggling to understand if what Cassie did on this stand was the prosecution strategy, or rather prosecution spent the weekend putting a rope around their damn neck, because Cassie done fucked around and potentially fucked up the whole thing. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. Cassie got on that stand and told the whole truth. The problem with Cassie telling the whole goddamn truth is she didn't mind making herself look complicit as well. She didn't mind speaking and narrating in a way that made her look compliant, that made her look willing, that made her look able-bodied, and she spoke in a way that almost made it seem as though she still has some form of love or respect for Diddy, and she spoke more so as a woman who was desperately in love, and as a result of being desperately in love, was almost irrationally submissive, which is why I'm calling her the Harley Quinn to Joker. That's okay if that's the truth. If the truth is, I love this man so much that I damn near lost my mind behind him, and I was willing to stoop to any levels necessary in order to be the apple of his eye. And going into that whole shit with Kim Porter and how she confronted him when he said Kim was the love of his life, and her actually being jealous of other women. Optically speaking, and from a jury perspective, this takes the people who got to look at all this and make a judgment criminally on Diddy it takes him out of the framework of thinking of Cassie as a victim. She's just more so a low self-esteem ass woman who didn't know who the fuck she was and fell in love with a freaky ass abusive man, and she spent years just making a goddamn fool of herself. Here's the thing. On one hand, I can see that feeling. On one hand, I can see this being strategy. If prosecution's whole attitude was just get on the stand and tell the truth. Don't make it seem like you have an agenda to make him look like a total monster. At the same time, don't glorify him either. Because if you just tell the truth, which is good and bad in this case, that can actually add to your credibility as a witness, because it'll help jurors be more likely to believe the negative parts of your story if you're willing to be honest and even to some degree self-incriminating. Because they'll be like, well, damn, she had to be telling the truth about Diddy, because look at what the hell she told. Look at what she said about her damn self. Look at what she said about her own role, her own willingness. She's coming off as a woman who doesn't have an agenda, which could translate as very convincing and very credible, because she doesn't seem to be doing too much. She's right in that middle. You don't feel like you're listening to somebody who has an agenda and a will to put someone away. You don't feel like you're listening to someone who's trying to make themselves seem completely washed of any impurities, and who's unaccountable for themselves. You feel like you're talking to a relatable human being who is just telling their truth, for better or for worse. So I can see that being a strategy. However, I think it's a risky one. I understand why it would be a strategy, because once again, you want your witnesses to be convincing, and you want them to present and be in such a way that they resonate with the people who ultimately you're relying on to give you the win in a case. But it's risky in this case because jurors are not AI. They're human beings. And human beings sometimes are not nuanced. They don't really understand how abuse and being in love willfully can all exist in one framework. What I've learned about people is that people need shit made simple. Even though most of life is nuanced, even though most things in life are nuanced, people like the simplicity of shit either being all the way fucked up and bad and demonic, or shit being all the way good and angelic. People do not like hybrid situations. And when you get a hybrid situation, a situation that's both good and bad, it got a little bit of this in it and a little bit of that in it, people just chop that shit up to everybody got what they got. Nothing to see here. But this is a trial. Prosecution wants a fucking verdict. They want a particular verdict. They want life in fucking prison, lock his ass the fuck away. They want the gusto. So if I would have been a part of prosecution, I would have told that bitch to sit her truth aside, okay? and you go into this motherfucking thing as a scorned woman trapped in a contract by a maniacal, homicidal, criminal enterprise, sexual deviant running motherfucking person. And all that evidence that the defense has against you, where it appears that you are happy, you're content, that you even want this relationship, that you even want this man, we need you to narrate that shit as all of that was you attempting to create safety for yourself in a relationship that was very dangerous. And even all the times where you seem to be complicit, where you seem to be jealous, was all you faking. You were acting because you were fighting for your fucking life and trying to avoid this man ruining your career, who was in control of your career. This man from taking your fucking life. This man from harming your mother and your relatives and the people you care about. You throw it all on his ass. And I'm going to tell you, they could have got away with that because there's enough evidence to have definitely placated to that narrative, because they already got the CNN video. So they know that Diddy is abusive. They got all the male escorts talking about Cassie being overdosed, talking about Cassie being taken in rooms and beaten. They have Don Richard coming in, corroborating that Diddy definitely abused her, etc. So really, prosecution could have really relied on Cassie coming in and just focusing on narrating Diddy as one of the scariest kingpin, violent people she's ever met, who had so much resource and power economically, socially, that the only thing she could do other than cry was to pretend to be happy with what was taking place just to stay alive. Just to stay alive. Like, that's where I would have went. Instead, bitch, Cassie got her ass on our stand and spoke like she was speaking to her damn diary, girl. I loved them. I got respect for the past, you know. It wasn't all bad. I wanted to fuck. I enjoyed some of the dick in my ass. Some of those things were the best night of my life. I was jealous. He was the love of my life. I was jealous when he, loved other women. And it's just like, oh my God, Cassie, bitch. Like, I would have given anything to be in that courtroom to see. No, fuck the courtroom, bitch. I would have been anything to be God and to know what was in the heart of the prosecutors at that moment when she was pulling the ultimate alley-oop on the narrative, because she was absolutely now softening all of the narrative. She was softening all of the indictment. She was softening up the storyline that was being produced by the prosecutors who done charged this nigga with all this shit, when she has the potential to literally be the sex trafficking charge itself. Everybody trying to figure out, where's the sex trafficking? I don't think it's being defined. It is being defined. Cassie is the sex trafficking charge. That's why they're intentionally and strategically asking her, where did y'all have sex at? Oh, in Nevada. Oh, in LA. Oh, in New York. Oh, she's the one being trafficked. She's the one being trafficked via coercion, threat, deception, fraud. She is the meat and the potatoes to the sex trafficking charge itself. However, she got on that stand and spoke from here instead of here. And as a result of her just being a human being on the stand with no particular agenda, just telling her lived experience with no motive, she done fucked around and PG-13 the prosecution's whole storyline against Diddy. And that may have major implication. I mean, major be of major detriment to the outcome of this case, especially if Cassie is indeed their star witness. Yep. Yes, very well put, Conscious, because Cassie and Diddy's relationship was pimp and hoe situation. She needs to really clarify she indeed was a victim, and she didn't do that. What she did was acknowledge, yes, the relationship was uncomfortable at times. Yes, Diddy put his hands on me at times, but guess what? The same drugs that I felt, and that was another kind of like was problematic about the way she was narrating, was like there were opportunities where she could have actually like made Diddy to blame, but instead she spoke independently about her feelings, like, oh well, I submitted my pussy to these freak offs because I felt I had to. I did these drugs because I felt I had to, and then fucked around and said Diddy at the same token actually encouraged her to get off drugs. Cassie, baby. You're on trial, bitch, to put a man away in prison. You can't be admitting, girl, that you did things willfully, and you did things out of being in love, and you did things out of being desperate, because none of that is illegal. If you were that desperate, that's on you, not on Diddy. Yes, Diddy is crazy because he knew you were not the love of his life. He knew he was never going to wife you, and he knew you was willing to slut yourself out. You was willing to be a part of his freakish world. And he let you be and indulge in your desperation. But that equally is a reflection of your own volunteer participation, love. And Diddy isn't on trial for being a bad boyfriend. He's not on trial for even domestic violence. He's on trial for sex trafficking. And there are major elements of your relationship to him due to the violence, due to his control of your career, due to him blackmailing you with these freak-off tapes and threatening to expose you, due to the way he was attacking other people in your life, Kid Cudi, blowing up his car, your friends, that actually make you a full-on victim that single-handedly can define and carve out the sex trafficking Rico whole charge situation, because he used his privilege, he used his capacity as a CEO, as a boss, he used his money to force you into submission. Like, everything is wrapped up in Cassie's story, but because Cassie told her story the way she did, because she told it like that of a young and a restless season 1 storyline, rather than a full-on rebuke, and a woman who had no autonomy, and a woman who feared for her life and feared what would happen to the people she loved in her life, who felt trapped by this powerful man with immense resources. She could do nothing else but subject herself to this force until it wasn't a force. I don't know whether she fucked it up or not. I got a feeling she kind of fucked it up. I kind of got a feeling she fucked up the fizzle, my nizzle. Her case could have been a infinity stone in this whole trial. It's now just a small pebble in the pond. And the legal analysts and the public are already kind of becoming unconvinced. The public and legal experts are already feeling like it's looking like the DA overcharged Diddy and that they're going to more than likely struggle to really sell this thing home. What could have been probably a landslide victory now probably has the prosecution running amok. Running a motherfucking muck. Shout out to my baby mother Amber for the old dead piece of child support check. Thank you, baby mother. You guys know all donation information is in the description box below. Baby mama says, "For you look so good." Thank you, baby mama. I do it for y'all, baby. Do it for y'all, baby. Y'all tell the king to get up here, take the stage, baby. I gotta get up here and take the stage and take it well. So, what do y'all think? Let me do a poll. Let's do a poll. Then we're gonna get into some updates. We're gonna be news. NBC News is giving us some real-time shit going on right now. Let me do a poll and see what you guys have to say. And please run the likes up, you guys. It's 211 of y'all in the building. We only got 122 likes. We need 200 likes, Shy. Give me them likes. Let me see. Let me do a poll. Did Cassie's testimony... I want to work this. Did Cassie's testimony help the case against Diddy? All right, you guys sound off on that and hit those likes, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey, Tit for Tat, what's going on? What is going on? You guys vote off on that poll, and then we're going to get into some official updates here going on in real time at the motherfucking courthouse. It's a mess. They're going to tell Don, they're going to tear Don ass up. Don going to get towed up. And that cross exam going to be nasty work, baby. It's going to be nasty work. Okay, so you guys... Okay, so 60% of y'all said no. 41% of y'all said yes. Okay, so more than half of y'all feel like Cassie may have hurt the case. Right now, I'm going to lean there as well. But, like I said, it might be a part of prosecution's strategy for Cassie to have came off very relatable and to also like humanize herself on the stand. Speak, to the reality of how she felt about Diddy, her personal feelings, being in love, because making her as relatable as possible helps to make her more credible to a jury. So I don't know though, you know, if that was the strategy or not, and we'll see how the hell that plays out, honey, in the end. You know, we got, once again, 2 months of this shit, this hairish, like, scratching my damn face. Them little strands, child. All right. Actually, let me play a clip real quick. Get into some live coverage, and then we're going to get into some updates. Y'all thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Don Richard is taking the stand. Right now, we're going to get to some updates. Diddy trial latest updates. Okay, let's check this out. Courtesy of Fox News. You guys run those likes up, run those likes up, run those likes up, run those likes up. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on.
Expected to continue in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial later on this morning.
We are expecting more bombshell testimony now from a former reality show cast member. Good Day Wake Up anchor Dan Bowens keeping an eye on things for us this morning. What do you know?
Yeah, Rosanna and Kurt, here we go again. The start of the second week of this high-profile trial. During the first several days, of course, we heard that explosive testimony from Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Well, now we're hearing from the next witness. Her name is Dawn Richard. She will testify for the prosecution in just about an hour from now. Now, Dawn Richard, a former cast member on Combs' MTV reality show Making the Band and a member of Diddy's Dirty Money group, a former member. She last testified last week that in 2009, Combs beat Ventura and dragged her upstairs by her hair. She said at the time she then heard glass shattering and Ventura screaming. Now, we should note that Richard sued the music mogul last year, accusing him of physical abuse, groping, and psychological abuse during the years that they worked together. His representative denied the claims at the time. Now, Richard's testimony follows 4 days on the witness stand by Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Cassie Ventura testified she was forced into drug-fueled freak-offs, as they were described, with other men at Combs' direction. She told prosecutors she'd give back her $20 million settlement to erase those experiences, those terrible memories. The defense pointed to explicit text messages she sent to Combs to challenge her credibility. Prosecutors say her story, though, shows a pattern of control and abuse at the heart of the sex trafficking charges. Ventura and her husband, Alex Fine, released a statement after the testimony. Their attorney read it to the public earlier. Take a listen to a portion of it.
You did not break the woman who has made me a better man. I did not save Cassie, as some have said. To say that is an insult to the years of painful work my wife has done to save herself. Cassie saved Cassie. She alone broke free from abuse, coercion, violence, and threats. She did the work of fighting the demons that only a demon himself could have done to her.
And again, the words of Cassie Ventura through her attorney there from her husband. On the other side, Combs' attorneys have taken a unique approach to defending him. The attorney has conceded that he has a bad temper and is prone to violent outbursts that are often fueled by alcohol, jealousy, and drugs. But she maintains, the attorney does, that while his actions might have warranted domestic violence charges, they aren't proof he engaged in sex trafficking and racketeering. Now, we are in the second week of a trial that is expected to last up to 2 months.
I'm actually glad you said that, Coco. They need a medical expert because there is some disassociation. I was thinking that this would be the perfect way for a prosecution to kind of like recalibrate from the possible damage that Cassie's testimony did. They can bring in a therapist, a licensed therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse, Stockholm syndrome, and talk about the way that abuse can change the brain chemistry of the victim, the way that victims can sometimes identify with their perpetrators, and the complexity of DV and abuse, and this type of like psychological conditioning and coercion. So if I was the prosecution and it was not our intent for Cassie to get her ass up there and to do all the complex shit she did, to come across convincing, and all of that was Cassie's own doing, that would be the way that we would restructure, is I would bring a fucking therapist, you know, on the stand, an expert, and allow them to illustrate the ins and outs so that Cassie's sentiments and behavior can still be understood in the context of victimization. All right. Now, let's get into some updates. I'm not going to keep you guys here all day. Once again, Oota on go is boots to the ground. You guys can check him out. He's giving the play-by-play of it all. And he may be over here later on today. We've been playing it by ear because there's literally so much going on. All right, let me see what all these updates give. Hold on. I'm going to start from the bottom and work our way all the way up. NBC News been reporting since like 4 this morning. Let me see here. Beatings. We finna get into some live updates and catch up to the current moment here. Let me see how Combs' trial might affect hip hop. Nope. All right, so here, let's start here. This was 5 hours ago. Oh, a marriage therapist speaks on Combs and Ventura's relationship. Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura were in a decades-long relationship as Ventura wrapped up her testimony in the trial. NBC News Gotti Scott spoke to Sonnet Daymont, a licensed marriage and family therapist, about the couple's relationship. Okay. Here's what Dawn said in court on Friday. Dawn Richard, a former member of Danny Kane, testified that she saw Combs physically assault Ventura in his LA home in 2009. Richard alleged that he threw Ventura to the ground, struck her with a skillet full of eggs, put his arm around her neck, and dragged her upstairs. Quote, "I was scared for her. I was scared to do anything," Richard testified. Richard is expected to continue her testimony today, of course. Former Danny Kane member Don Richard arrived at court shortly after 8 a.m. Combs' attorneys, including Xavier, Alexandro, and Mark, were also seen arriving this morning. Court is officially in session, kicking off day 6 of Combs' trial. After about 20 minutes of a discussion between the judge and attorneys from both sides, Richards was brought back to the witness stand to continue her testimony. Richard wore slacks with a white shirt and overcoat. Richard recalled how frightened she was when Combs allegedly threatened her and the defendant's then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The incident happened in 2009, a day after Combs attacked Ventura with a skillet, according to Richards. Quote, "He said you could go missing, that we could die," Richard told jurors. Quote, "I was shocked but also scared. I couldn't believe this would be the beginning of a journey for us." Speaking about the group Dirty Money. Dawn Richards says she regularly witnessed Combs lashing out at Cassie Ventura over the years, often after his then girlfriend would voice her opinion. Quote, "Frequently he would punch her, choke her, slap her in the mouth, kick her, punch her in her stomach," Richard told jurors. Quote, "It could be because Cassie was speaking up for herself. It could be random. It could be if she had an opinion for herself," Richard said. "She would be quiet, and when she had these moments of trying to stick up for herself, he would hurt her for it." Wow. The two female members of Dirty Money wore sunglasses alongside Cassie Ventura during a Central Park appearance as a way to support her, Richard testified. According to Richard, Ventura was punched in the face by Diddy at his home in 2009 ahead of the event. Diddy's former girlfriend had a swollen eye that Ventura used makeup and sunglasses to hide. Richard told the court, quote, "We wore sunglasses to have solidarity with her and to have a support system because she needed it," Richard said. So they wore sunglasses at this event to make it appear like it was on theme and a part of the costume, when really Cassie was beat up and had injuries, and they wanted to be supportive and not have anything look weird. Richard is likely known for her time performing with the girl group Danity Kane, but she was also in another musical group in the mid-2000s. She got her start with Combs through his reality show, Making a Band 3, which is how Danity Kane formed. The group had two relatively popular albums between 06 and 08, but disbanded in 09. Combs then briefly formed a trio with himself, Richard, and Kalina Harper. The same year it was announced Danity Kane broke up. That lasted until roughly 2012, and Richard released a solo album called Golden Heart the next year. Combs would angrily tell his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura to wait for her turn for recording an album, Richard said. When Richard would support Ventura's musical aspirations, Combs, quote, "didn't like me talking with her about that," the witness said. Quote, "He said it would be on his terms. It was always wait, wait, wait. She had to wait for her turn. Sometimes it was just wait your turn. Other times it was violent or volatile," she said. The witness said numerous employees of Combs and his Bad Boy Records witnessed his violence against Ventura, and no one stepped in. See, and this is what I mean by, like, this could all be a part of the Rico racketeering. There were people who were complicit. I think even in Dawn's lawsuit, she was the one who said that Cassie got punched in her face at an actual event in front of Usher and Neo, who did nothing. She was the one who took Ventura outside, helped her to collect herself. But that even Usher and Neo had witnessed a domestic dispute between Cassie and Diddy. I think Diddy punched her in her stomach, I believe. And look, with so many people who were employed and Cassie being trafficked all over the damn country for freak-offs and beat and, you know, having her money and her career controlled, this could fill in the Rico. But because Cassie testified the way she did, baby, shit and got interesting. This is why I love UCTV, because other channels, woo wow, let's just say it's hard to watch this subject on those channels. Really, Chantel? What's going on the other platforms, my love? Okay, it goes on to say, prosecutors return to questioning about Combs' drug use, or rather his offers of drugs to other people, while Richard was on the stand. Richard testified that Combs would have a drug dealer named One Stop deliver a range of substances to the recording studio, including cocaine and marijuana. She also told the court that Combs or his assistants would carry a Louis Vuitton pouch filled with drugs. Okay, you see, here's aspects of the Rico. Cassie Ventura referred to the Louis Vuitton pouch as Combs', quote, med bag during her testimony last week. Prosecutors then asked if Richard ever saw a weapon while with Combs. Richard said she saw firearms a few times and that Combs' bodyguards had them and they held them in the lower back. So remember, when Diddy had got arrested officially, when they took his black ass in, the feds had recovered a medical bag on his persons that was filled with drugs. He had pink cocaine on his persons at the point of his arrest. And once again, you know, she's bringing up the assistant. I think that one of Diddy's assistants are supposed to testify as well. See, even though there is a such thing as a Rico for one, a lot of the people that we would typically expect to see in a Rico charge, personal drivers, personal accountants, bodyguards, chefs, who also are supposed to be testifying. A lot of times these people make plea deals. They take plea deals. They give their testimony in return for immunity. Now, remember, one of Diddy's drug mules was also arrested, but apparently they dropped charges against him, set him free, and I'm wondering if he's going to be making a appearance on stand as well, and if a part of him not having any charges brought against him was that he will act as a witness for prosecution. I think they also made that man go to rehab, apparently. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Rashard ended her direct examination by saying that she's seeking justice in hopes of inoculating Rashard against defense claims that she'd be biased against Combs due to her federal lawsuit against the music mogul. Assistant U.S. Attorney Migzy Steiner asked the witness what she hopes to gain from testifying. Steiner asked Rashard if she's expecting any compensation for your testimony. Quote, "I'm expecting justice," she responded. Great response, Miss Dawn. Combs' attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, began cross-examination of Rashard and picked up where prosecutors left off. Rashard's lawsuit against Combs. Westmoreland asked if Rashard was aware there was a pending motion to dismiss her lawsuit, a standard practice with civil lawsuits, but Rashard said she didn't know. Defense then began a line of questioning in an attempt to undermine Rashard's testimony last week that she witnessed Combs hit Cassie with a skillet. Westmoreland asked if Rashard's allegations have changed over time. Westmoreland said that in a letter sent to Combs, Rashard alleged she, quote, heard a pan hit the wall, but didn't see it. Rashard responded to the series of questions that she wasn't aware or didn't recall what Westmoreland was even referencing. Defense lawyer Nicole Westmoreland tried to poke holes in Rashard's claims that Combs attacked Ventura with a skillet of eggs. Westmoreland suggested in her questions that Rashard had told different versions of the 2009 incident, including one that simply had Combs throwing eggs at Ventura. Rashard told jurors on Friday that she saw Combs hit Ventura with the skillet. Westmoreland reminded Rashard that she's under oath and then asked if she's changed her story over time. Rashard responded, quote, "I said the best that I could recall." Okay, that's a clever alley-oop. Wow. So she's seemingly being threatened with contempt, girl, if they find that she's lying and exaggerating. Combs' defense is attempting to catch inconsistencies in Rashard's direct testimony, this time with the allegation that Combs said to her that, quote, people go missing, and that they could die after witnessing a fight between him and Cassie Ventura. Westmoreland pulled up interviews Rashard had with prosecutors in October and March, where she also recounted the same incident with the skillet. Westmoreland pointed out Rashard said in the interview that Combs said, quote, this was a love thing, with no mention of, quote, people going missing in her interview. Quote, that's not true. I don't recall not saying that, Rashard responded. Quote, you didn't tell prosecutors that Sean Combs said, quote, people go missing? Westmoreland continued. I didn't remember it, Rashard told the court, later stating that she remembers, quote, everything I am telling you now. That might be seen as very convenient, obviously, Dawn. All of a sudden, your memory is top tier, boo. All of a sudden, you got 4K memory. They're poking, girl. They're poking. You guys, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, goes on. The defense challenged Rashard's testimony about weapons and narcotics that she allegedly saw in Combs' possession, inferring that her memory only recently came to light. Under direct examination earlier on Monday, Richard detailed the times that she saw Combs with GUNs and illegal drugs. Westmoreland asked Richard why the witness didn't mention GUNs in 8 meetings with prosecutors. And she said, quote, it wasn't asked. Also under direct examination on Monday, Richard said she saw Combs taking ketamine, cocaine, and Molly. Westmoreland asked Richard if she's changed her story after previously telling government investigators that she had not seen Combs with cocaine. Quote, yes, as time progresses, I get better at knowing what went on because it was quite a long time ago, the witness said. Baby, this is between Cassie being a desperate woman in love, willing to do these things to keep Diddy happy, and Dawn, convenient memory recall girl. It's not looking good right now at all. Richard's cross-examination moved into her career with Combs, which included her work with Danity Kane and Combs' trio, Diddy Dirty Money. The singer confirmed that though she said she was scared of Combs, she asked to work with him again. I'm starting to believe that this was a bad idea. I'm starting to believe this was a bad idea for Dawn to take the motherfucking stand. I'm not surprised that they're tearing her ass up because Dawn, honestly, Aubrey probably would have been a better witness than Dawn simply because, like, Aubrey literally was fired and that was it. Dawn went on to be in the whole group. She went on to seek further employment from Diddy, despite all the things that she says. And it's looking real raggedy. The singer confirmed that though she said she was scared of Combs, she did ask to work with him again. Westmoreland brought up the hundreds of thousands of records Richard sold. While with both groups, Richard confirmed that she asked Combs to sign her as a solo artist in 2011, which would have been the end of her time with Diddy Dirty Money, and Combs denied her. She also said she asked to work with Combs as recently as 2020 or 2021. Quote, you felt like Mr. Combs ruined your career not once but twice, Westmoreland asked. Yes, Dawn said. Federal prosecutor Steiner picked up questioning Dawn following a tough cross-examination where defense attorneys attempted to undermine Dawn's testimony by pointing out inconsistencies in her retelling of events. Steiner asked Richard, I'm going to say Richard so bad, girl. Dawn had thought about the incidents a lot over the decades since she witnessed them. Quote, no, it was a hard time, a bad time for me, Dawn said. It did not all come back immediately. The environment was traumatizing, so I tried to erase those things from my memory. By speaking with investigators, Dawn said that more memories come to her every day and that she tries to relay things as best and as accurate as I can. She confirmed that she did tell the government that she saw Combs hitting Cassie and that he threatened her to keep quiet about several meetings. Dawn testified that she had no doubt that Combs tried to strike Cassie or that Cassie went into a fetal position or that Combs dragged Cassie by the stairs by her hair. She also had no doubt that Combs threatened Dawn to keep quiet. Under another round of cross-examination, Dawn admitted that she tried to work with Combs again, despite all her allegations that the music mogul engaged in violence and drug use. The defense lawyer Westmoreland ticked off the number of performances, writing sessions, travel, and career talks that Richard would have to engage in with Combs despite the bad acts she had allegedly seen. Westmoreland asks, quote, "You would spend a lot of time together even though he made death threats?" Dawn responded, "Yes." When pressed about her lawsuit against Combs, Dawn said, quote, "I want justice and to be made whole." And when Westmoreland asked if that meant being paid money, Dawn answered, yes. Carrie Morgan, the woman Cassie Ventura described as her former best friend, was called to the witness stand by the government once Dawn's testimony was concluded. Ventura testified last week that she met Morgan when she was a teenager and the two remained close for about 17 years. Combs' former girlfriend testified that their friendship ended after Combs allegedly hit Morgan in the head with a wooden hanger. But Morgan was allegedly aware of the abuse Cassie endured from Combs and had been around the couple regularly in the early days of their relationship when Cassie still lived in New York City. Carrie Morgan made it clear that she was only in court testifying because she was issued a subpoena by the government. Quote, "I do not want to testify," Morgan said when asked why she was there. Quote, "I moved on with my life." Morgan also confirmed that she and Cassie Ventura, who met on a modeling shoot as teenagers, no longer speak because Ventura's boyfriend assaulted her. Carrie Morgan told the court that she got to know Combs very well in the roughly 11 years that he was dating her former best friend. She described him as someone who was sometimes very nice and generous, but also as someone who had mood swings and could be very aggressive. Morgan testified that Combs would get mad at Cassie and that Cassie lost her spark and confidence while with Combs. When asked whether Combs ever spoke down to Cassie, Morgan said it could be often and could be regarding her looks or her behavior. Morgan also told the court that Combs would sometimes call her up to 50 times in a row to look for Cassie. Morgan testified that she personally witnessed Combs assault Cassie 2 times, once in Jamaica and once in LA. These can be more racketeering elements. All this abuse, freak-offs happening cross state lines, etc., by way of coercion, control, manipulation, etc. But once again, because of the way that Cassie narrated her experience, it's I don't know whether she lost it for the prosecution or not. It's too hard to tell. It's too early to tell right now. But I tell you, baby. Carrie Morgan described multiple incidents of Combs allegedly flying off the handle and beating Cassie with seemingly no provocation. Morgan first detailed an incident when she and Ventura were vacationing in Jamaica and Combs arrived halfway through their trip. Cassie, quote, had gone to the bathroom, and after a few minutes, Combs said she was taking too long and that he left me, and then I heard her screaming. The witness testified, quote, "It was guttural, terrifying. I heard her screaming. So I went to the long hallway. They were coming out of the master bedroom, and he was dragging her by her hair. Combs then dragged Ventura outside and threw her to the ground, where she hit her head on brick," Morgan said. Ventura and Morgan then fled the scene in a golf cart and hid in a ditch as Combs searched for them in another golf cart for hours. I remember hearing about this. I wonder if this is the young lady who was a songwriter for Cassie. She was in the business too, because I remember seeing somebody speak about this. Maybe she was in an interview that I heard. Y'all thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Well, it's sex trafficking because sex trafficking is sex Let me give you the legal definition of sex trafficking. Sex trafficking. Y'all thumbs up. Sex trafficking is the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another for purpose of sexual exploitation. Okay? Sex trafficking is human trafficking for the purpose of sexual exploitation. Perpetrators of the crime are called sex traffickers or pimps, people who manipulate victims to engage in various forms of commercial sex with paying customers. Okay? Now remember, Cassie, like she said in her testimony and in her lawsuit, that a part of why she remained with Diddy, like beyond just her personal emotions, whatever, was, for one, he threatened people around her, and people oftentimes became endangered as a result of her pushing back against their relationship, hence trying to move on with Kid Cudi and him blowing that nigga's car to smithereens. And or people around her, such as this young lady, ended up assaulted, Cassie beaten, other people being hanging over balconies, and that there was coercion, which is another principle of sex trafficking. She said that Diddy oftentimes made her watch the freak off recordings back and would threaten to release those recordings and ruin her if she did not comply. So that's sex trafficking. The fact that he was flying her all over the country, making her outsource sex workers off of websites and Backpage and Craigslist, and threatening to ruin her reputation and her career by way of releasing this explicit footage, and or just all out assaulting her and holding up her career. These would all be the elements of sex trafficking. Let's look up definition of prostitution. The practice or occupation of engaging in sexual activity with someone for payment. Prostitution is where all of the escorts come in to pay at. They were paying these people. Diddy was paying these people via Cassie. Cassie was very clear that she never wanted to participate in the freak-offs. She did so under coercion. She did so under manipulation. She did so under emotional duress, desperation, wanting to make him happy, wanting to be safe, wanting to be with him. That all these elements, informed why she ultimately subjected herself to these freak-offs, but that she never wanted these freak-offs. All this stuff was to make him happy, and he was very clear that, she would have to do these things if she wanted to be in alignment with him. And she also knew that by not doing these things, that there could be some really bad repercussions, such as violence and or the release of these freak-off tapes. But they were actually paying these commercial escorts and sex workers and strippers. So that's literally prostitution. He was also pimping her out, because in return for her being prostituted out, he would continue to make promises about her career. He would provide a glamorous lifestyle for her, spend shitloads of money on her. So she was prostituting to a degree, and they were in cahoots with sex workers who they were paying. So it's actually not a mockery. That's actually what sex trafficking is. I think some of y'all have like these very small, non-nuanced understandings of what these things are. but these things are very nuanced. They involve a lot of elements, and those circumstances and situations are also sex trafficking and prostitution as well. Okay. On to the update. Let me see, where was I? Golf court. Okay. In a second incident, Morgan told the court that she was with Combs and Ventura at a house the defendant was renting in LA Hollywood Hills. She saw Combs allegedly hit or kick Ventura. Morgan urged the music mogul security guard Ruben to, quote, do something, and he refused. She told the court that she and Ventura left the house to hide at a neighbor's place and heard Combs driving by to look for them. Ultimately, however, Ventura returned to Combs' home, Morgan said. All right, we got some more updates from NBC News. Hold on. Who's doing a fabulous job. Let's see here. We got some more updates. Carrie Morgan testified that though she urged Cassie Ventura to speak to police about Combs' abuse, that she refused due to what it would mean for her career and her livelihood. Okay, so this is the coercion. This is the by way of threat, etc. Her subjecting herself to all this foolishness, her not being comfortable just walking away because she knew that there could be explosive repercussions in doing so because the man was unhinged, drug-fueled, and capable of doing the things that he promised. And she was already experiencing some of that anecdotally, her own self. Prosecutor Meredith Foster asked Morgan whether she had ever spoken with Cassie about if she should stay with Combs. Morgan told the court that she and her former best friend would speak about it often. Quote, I wanted her to do what she wanted to do, but I told her she should leave him, Morgan said, and she said she could not because her job, her car, her apartment. It was apparent to Morgan that after Ventura spent time with people associated with Combs that, quote, she did not want to leave him. Carrie Morgan recounted the alleged assault she personally endured from Combs that ended her almost 2 decades of friendship with Cassie Ventura. She testified that she was at Ventura's home listening to music when Combs came into the singer's apartment. Cassie was in the bathroom and Morgan said she was in the living room at the time. Quote, he came up behind me and choked me and left finger marks on my neck and hit me in the head with a wooden hanger, Morgan told the court. Cassie was in the bathroom. It hit me behind my right ear. Morgan added that Combs was talking about Cassie cheating on him and she grabbed her personal things and left. She said she went to an urgent care for a concussion, noting that she was dizzy and vomited a few times. She hired a lawyer but did not file a lawsuit, Morgan said, instead being paid $30,000 from Combs and saying that she signed an NDA. Quote, we haven't spoken since, Morgan said. The last time I spoke to Sean was the night of the assault, and the last time I saw Cassie was when I signed the NDA. So she got a $30,000 payment from the incident and a NDA she had to sign. Judge Arun adjourned the court for a 30-minute lunch at around 12:35, okay, which was about, 30 minutes ago. Slightly later planned, the judge told attorneys that he hoped to adjourn for lunch at noon, now that the court will adjourn at 3 p.m. every day. Okay, so quite a lengthy motherfucking lunch break here. That's where we at, girl. Dawn has been cross-examined, girl. They told her to smithereens. And now one of Cassie's former best friends have taken the stand to speak about her personal experience, observation. She's also witnessed abuse. Everybody so far has witnessed abuse firsthand. The best friend, Dawn, all the male escorts. Cassie's mom is going to be taking the stand. She's going to be testifying to witnessing abuse as well. Once again, it's clear that the prosecution's case is revolving solely around Cassie. I can definitely see why. And it's because all the elements for that sex trafficking charge is there. Once again, the question is now going to be, can they recoup from what possibly could have been the damage done by Cassie when she took a more poetic approach to speaking about her tenure with Diddy? As we discussed earlier, one way that the prosecution can kind of redeem the damage that Cassie might have possibly done is by bringing in a therapist to talk about the complexity of Stockholm Syndrome, the complexity of narcissistic abuse. And that could really help to put a lot of Cassie's behavior throughout her relationship, and even somewhat of her emotional posture even now, into a better perspective, because I think it's in the best interest of the prosecution to attempt to alley-oop. Like I said earlier, it could have been their strategy to have Cassie testify in the way she did to come off more relatable, which will then make her more credible. But considering that Americans are stupid and jurors are just people and they like shit to be as black and white as possible, that might have been too risky of a gamble, because they might interpret Cassie's posture on the stand as more so as a willful participant who was just desperate and allow herself to be subjected to crazy shit, versus her being someone who was violently and psychologically beat into submission and compliance. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, so they're supposed to be resuming court at 3. So yeah, everybody is going out to Piccadilly's and to goddamn Golden Corral and getting them some goddamn lunch, girl, because there's a lot going on. Of course, Combs is facing 5 criminal counts, 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, which are all elements in his relationship to Cassie, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, which also all up in Cassie's situation. And Combs has voraciously denied the allegations against him. So once again, we also only are 1 week into a 2-month-long trial. We don't know what all the evidence is. We don't know what all the witnesses are. So these charges could be more defined as all this plays out. So it's also way too early to really tell, where this is going and what the prosecution really got up their sleeve. We aren't even halfway through yet. So literally there's just really no way to tell, what's all going on here. So it's going to be interesting to see what all the evidence is. Remember, the freak-off tapes will be played to the jury. The media is trying to get access and get the judge to sign off as well on allowing them to also bear witness to these tapes so that they don't have to speak from third-hand information, but can instead, speak firsthand about what was given up on those goddamn freak-off tapes, girl. Let me see if there are any other updates. It's a lot going on, y'all. This is a mess. It's really sickening and disturbing, to be honest. Let me see here. I'm just checking around real quick. You guys, please thumbs up the video. We're working. A lot of the stuff that Dawn is saying, we already kind of know of from her lawsuit. I wish they would have ramped up the charges a lot more against Diddy, because there are things in Dawn's lawsuit that they would have woo, in terms of testimonial, girl, would have been a lot going on. I'm also thinking if they should have more so dealt with Diddy on a state level rather than a federal level, because they would have been able to get a lot more done that I still feel like could have been damaging for Diddy. I mean, they could have got jail time for sure if they would have applied some DV, some femicide shit, you know, some of the things, honey. And he still would have been canceled. He still would have lost everything. He still would have did some degree of time. But now with them taking it to federal, and with it seemingly appearing that things kind of are not as strong as we thought it would be, it's possible that Diddy may be completely acquitted. But honestly, I don't see Diddy walking away scot-free. Even if they can't get his ass on Rico, they're going to get his ass on. Hold on. Let me see what these charges are. They're going to get him on a prostitution for one. It's just been too much sex and too many escorts and too many people who got paid for their fucking services. They're definitely they're going to get his ass on prostitution. The racketeering is what's going to be interesting. That sex trafficking is going to be interesting. But the prostitution, yeah, they're going to get him on that. But those will all be lighter charges relative. T speaking. Sean let me see. So I thought he had got charged on. I guess not. Yep. I don't know why I thought he got some type of gun charges too. I know there's a superseded indictment. So yeah, girl, that's all that's going on. It's a lot going on, girl. I don't think the whole case is I don't think the whole case is a stretch. Cassie is a infinity stone in this case, but because of the way Cassie testified, it done made some things easier for Diddy that would have been extremely difficult had Cassie testified in a more aggressive, intentional way. I think that kind of might have ruined some of the stick, some of the glue that could have been by way of her testimony. But once again, hopefully they will recalibrate by bringing in a relationship expert to make up for what Cassie failed to do on that stand. She muddied the waters too much. She diluted the narrative that prosecution is banking on. So now they need to bring in all the fucking therapists in the world, honey. They need to bring in Dr. Phil Iyanla, Judge Joe Brown, baby. They need to get folk in here to speak and to put Cassie into perspective, girl, so the jury can understand that she is abused. She is all of her signs are classic signs of someone with Stockholm syndrome, etc. That'll help people to understand, help the jury who has the power here to understand why her testimony seemed to be sentimental, while there maybe still seems to be a level of love or respect there, why she was seemingly complicit in some things. They're going to have to put that into perspective. They are, because Cassie's approach was way too soft. It was way too much like girl in love. Her whole relationship and the way she was dealt with and the way she was put through, though, definitely defines the sex trafficking portion of this. And they do have the power to find him guilty of that, depending on, you know, how they can recover from that. So I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. I don't feel well. Check out Oota on Go, you guys. This information is in the description box below. I do have transcripts, etc. We might read those things if you guys really want those things. I'm gonna kind of lightly glaze over the transcripts to see what my spirit says. We'll get up here and do what it do. In the meantime, I will try to be back to speak to you guys. We got some Megan Thee Stallion updates to get into. It's a lot of shit going on. Tell me what you all think below. You know, it's a lot, child. It's a lot. I couldn't even imagine being at that courthouse, girl. I couldn't even imagine. It's too much going on. I'm not built for this kind of shit. I'm not built for. I'm too energetically sensitive, child. I do not feel well at all. If you guys enjoyed yourself, definitely show some love to the Cash App, $Consciouztv, and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv. Consciouztv is spelled just how it is here on the platform. Any stories, anything you want me to cover, anything you want me to see, you can always email it to me at consciouztv@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram, sign up to Patreon, and I will see. Thank you so much, Deshaun. Thank you, boo. Thank you, y'all. Thank you, Ebony, and I will see you all later. Peace.